Hello, everybody. Just want to start this off with saying how happy I am that everybody is listening to this. I hope you're enjoying it. I do enjoy putting this on. Please take a moment here at the beginning to remember that I am GW and that this is my little video blog. It seems to be added to my podcast, Son of a Preacher Podcast by GW. So go down below, subscribe, follow, do whatever it is that you got to do to be part of this so that I know that people are around and that I can be happy about what we're doing. And I am happy about it, but it's always nice to know that there are people out there listening. So what I really want to talk about today, two things. I want to talk about presidential politics and I want to talk about the Olympics. So real quickly on the presidential politics side, 3 or 4 or 5 days ago, Kamala Harris, as the presidential nominee for the Democratic Party, came out and said that Tim Walz, who is the governor of Minnesota, was going to be her nominee to be her vice president if she is elected, which, in all honesty, I hope that she is. Now, Tim Walz, I have talked to a couple of really good sources about Tim and what he's really like in person. And everything that you've read is basically true. He seems to be the guy that can sit across the dinner table from you and make you feel like you're his long lost best friend, that you've been around him forever, that you've known him forever, that you just have this good time while you're talking to him. Really an unusual guy. That is such a great talent. It's one you can't learn. You either have that natural, intellectual, emotional, empathetic response with people, or you don't. And most people don't. They can carry on a conversation, they can certainly learn to ask questions, but being that nicest guy in the room is really a difficult thing to do. Now, he's been a successful congressman, he's been a successful governor, he's been a successful teacher, and a successful football coach. So in all honesty, seems like a well-rounded guy who probably can do a good job. Now, it does make a question, of course, about whether or not he really has chemistry with Kamala. Now, Kamala is said to have picked him basically on a gut instinct. That's pretty dangerous. I think that you look back over some of the vice president candidates, and they were chosen on a gut instinct, and sometimes it didn't turn out quite exactly the same as they thought it was going to. But in this case, seems like a mature, stable individual. People like him. He's smart. It sounds like it could work out pretty good. I'm hopeful. I am really, really hopeful. And the only question that I have, and it's a question that I have of anybody that I really haven't heard much about on a national stage, is does he have the depth to be president? That is always the great unknown. There is no job in this country that is more difficult on an hour by hour, minute by minute basis for 4 long years than being president of the United States. I mean, this is a job where you say that you're on the job 24/7. Let there be no question. President is on the job 24/7. He can be woken up at any time during the day, the night. He can come into his office. He may have a greatest plan for what he's going to do, but the fact of the matter is that until the phone rings, until the TV comes on, until the news comes on, he's not really sure how his day's going to go. When your week starts and your day starts with the CIA coming in with the presidential daily brief, that's a pretty impressive, hard way to start the day. So I wish him luck. I hope he gets. I really hope he gets the chance to be vice president. I think that Harris and Walz. I think that right now we're talking middle of August. Still a long time till the election. They talk about it being a short 90-day window till the election. I think the last 2 weeks have proven that lots of things can change very quickly in a presidential election. So today, I really hope that they win, and I hope that the country comes behind them and really supports them as they should. I think they have a good chance. Now, the second thing I wanted to talk about today was the Olympics. Love the Olympics. Gosh, I mean, I talked in my last one how my neighborhood used to get together. I didn't mention the kids' names, but it was, you know, Richie and Raymond and Louie and myself and Steve was over there a lot and Jeff was over there a lot, and it was just a good time to go out in the park and have a competition. And you sit there and you go, well, now, how did you have a competition? Just a bunch of little kids. Even if you're just running from tree to tree, you run from tree to tree, and looking back, it was probably, I don't know, 40 yards maybe to get from one tree to another. But you could line up with somebody and you had somebody, yell and start, and you'd start together. And what I found out was something that was really good to learn, I think, and I learned it at a very young age. And that is when you practice something, you do get better at it. You really, honest to God, get better at it. And that when you practice something, that you're going to pick up little tidbits, little techniques, little things that are just going to make you a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. And pretty soon, when you look how that first time that we flailed our way along 40 yards, well, the kid who was most naturally fast won. Well, 3 months later, when we stopped doing this, well, the kid who was naturally fast probably still won, and, I mean, you really can't substitute speed. But you know what? The rest of us were closer. And there were times since we had a stopwatch that we could sit there and go, wow, you did that in 12 seconds. Well, wow, you just did it in 10 and a half. Well, look at that. You just did it in 10 and a quarter. You just incrementally better. How wonderful that is to learn that you can get better as time goes on. Now, the Olympics that we've had over the last week, it's been mostly track and field and the second week of the Olympics. And there have been lots of upsets. There have been lots of, odds-on favorites who are winning. There are people who are coming in and they finish. I mean, Noah Lyles just finished the 200 meters. That was his signature event, and he finished third in that thing. But come to find out, he ran it with COVID, and he just couldn't breathe like he normally breathes, and it just makes what a difference that makes. So when you look at that, and you look at all the upsets, and you look at how happy a country is, or how disappointed they are if somebody doesn't do good that they thought was going to do wonderfully. And this afternoon was the semifinal game for the basketball, men's basketball. So they went out there, and the USA was playing Serbia, and Serbia is pretty darn good, and they led by as much as 17 points. And at the end of the game, they lost by 3 or 4, and you sit there at the end of that and you go, wow, what a game. And it really was, because the U.S. didn't hold the lead in that game, and at least not one after the very first beginning until very, very late, like a minute or two left in the game. But Serbia has a population of 6.6 million people. 6.6 million people. So they're up there trying to stand up to the United States. The United States has, God knows what, 300 million, 350 million? It's like Serbia in the between 6 and 7 million people in a state. You have Indiana, Missouri, and Maryland. Those are the only 3 states that have between 6 and 7 million people. So it's like one of those states going to the rest of the United States going, I think we can beat you. And then coming out and doing it, or almost doing it. It was a great time. Anyway, that's my political take. Really enjoy the politics that are being played right now. I really hope I'm worried about the country. I am sincerely worried about the country. I think that if we don't get on a same page again like we have been in the past, I'm just not sure how long we're going to survive as a democracy. And it would be a shame because this is a good system. It's the best system in the world. And it's the only one. It's the only system where people really, really can grow within themselves. Thanks for listening.